How's it going, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest in the Behind the Bar reviews. This week's chapter of 7 Deadly Sins, also called the Natsu no Taizai, is chapter 295, 5 chapters away from the big 300. That's going to be really exciting. I hope. Usually a lot of mangakas, they try to make the 100 milestone chapters a big deal, really big deal. I don't know what's going to really be in store for our chapter 300 of Taizai, but 295 is no slouch. So let's just get into that while I have the chance. This chapter, okay, so at the start we see it's just picking up right off. So we're not cutting away to somebody else or doing something foolish like that. No. We're still spirit, chastity fold, bam, into the original sinner. He's holding it back, but it's like, damn, this is tough. Everyone's like, that's King's chastity fold. What's going on here? Escanor's like, okay, what? And Merlin is saying, oh, so the Fairy King's power is actually like his growth. He's finally awoken the true power of the Fairy King. That's great. So she knew it was coming, but did not know if it was going to come like right now. So that's a bit, once again, translations. Maybe something else is said. Either way, suffice to say, Merlin knows exactly what's going on. Zeldris is noticing the battle from afar, so he was clearly a fair distance away from where the sinner was attacking Merlin and Escanor, and notices, the incredible power and is trying to figure out, okay, where's the 7 sins? Now, here's where we cut away to King. Now, King is flying forward and realizing the limitations, so he's not all-powerful. For one thing, he can't do the multi-forms that he was doing initially when he first grew his wings and all that stuff. We got the Elvis hairstyle. He can't do that from a fair distance. He can only keep one form. And by the sounds of it, it sounds like it takes an incredible amount of mana or magical energy for him to maintain the level of strength that Chastity Fold is currently having. I mean, pushing back the original demon with his shield, that is taking an exhausting amount of power. So he's got to get there, warp in, and wrap this up really quickly, according to what King has stated himself. Now, once he gets there, it's time for 4th form, Sunflower, and Sunflower looks like demonic. Sunflower looks like it's got a bunch of Venus flytraps mixed with something from Metroid Prime going at this thing, and he's like, you're not going to escape it. Boom, 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 and it just big explosion on the original demon. Except Zeldris got there in time. Zeldris, with the ruler back intact, cancels that out regardless how strong King has become. The ruler cancels it out. King does not have the 1 form, so it's just not going to happen. Now, here's the other thing, is that he's like, okay, this was canceled out, blah, blah, blah. Zeldris is saying, alright, original demon, you take care of Merlin and Escanor and the others. I'll deal with King, because King right now, his power is all based in magic. I got the ruler. I think we're good here. So this is going to be interesting. I did not expect the battle to turn the way it did. But I'm really excited to see what's going to go down. Now, we do cut away to Gilthunder, Margaret, and Hendrickson. Now, there is a few translation issues. I'm sure they'll be fixed with a later translation here. But Gilthunder is basically like holding Margaret, who is, of course, Rudesiel. He's like freaking out. He's all, Mael's alive. Yeah, he couldn't be killed. He was the strongest. I can't fly. I can't speak. I can't think. I need to get to Mael. Mael's alive. And he's just like, he's twisted. He's warped. He's just in shock. That's the best way to put it. He is in shock right now. And Hendrickson uses this as a chance. Says, Gilthunder, leave right now. And Gilthunder, of course, says, well, I'm not going to leave Margaret, blah, blah, blah. Hendrickson purges Margaret's body. Purges, and it makes perfect sense to me. Purge does not just expel evil. He compares it to like sludge or mud in water. He can turn that into crystal clear drinking water. Purge is to return things to their original state, their purest state. Rudesiel being inside of a human vessel is not a correct, natural thing. It's not nature's intention for Margaret's body. So, purge, because he was distraught, in shock, weakened, all that stuff, and was in a vulnerable state, and was not on guard. Hendrickson's purge got close enough to Margaret Rudesiel and purged his original body out of him. So now, Rudessiel is out of Margaret. So now Gilthunder can take her and run. That's really good. I'm happy with that. Finally, we're seeing Rudessiel in his original genocidal form, ready to go at it. Now, after this, right before Gilthunder takes off, here's where there's a translation issue, and I was confused for a little bit, but it says my father in the translation I got, but it's actually your father. He's speaking about Zarathustra. Zarathustra told him and Dreyfus, I'll always watch over you, sort of idea. Gilthunder the like, when he was disappearing the second time, his second death, so to speak. So that's really good. Gilthunder's crying, blah, 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 takes Margaret, and we can assume is getting away. Now, whether they'll get involved in the next few chapters, you never know, but suffice to say, Gilthunder and them are out. So here was the thing. A lot of people assumed this was going to be the case, is that Henriksen or Gilthunder would become the next vessel. That after Margaret's body got beat up to a certain point, Gilthunder or Henriksen would sacrifice their own life to tell Rudessiel, don't kill Margaret, take me as your human vessel. And it was a gamble, 50-50, but it ended up being Henriksen by the looks of it. Has not taken over yet, but when Rudessiel wakes up, says, Henriksen, how dare you, what have you done? And Henriksen just says, well, here's the deal. That was a princess, she's gone. Use me. Like, I'm not afraid of death. You can use me, you can use your full power to your heart's content. Now, we know that Margaret was a very, very good human vessel for Rudessiel. We know that their compatibility was much higher than the other archangels. However, Rudessiel didn't seem to try to destroy Margaret's body. It wasn't going all out. There was no danger of her losing her body or soul, but it did seem to be slowly breaking down. It was the max level. Rudessiel was not trying to just use Margaret solely as a human vessel until it broke. So in this case, Henriksen is saying, no, you can push yourself to 100% of your full power. My body breaks apart, that's fine. Well, I've committed plenty of crimes, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get this done. The one thing I don't like here, and once again, translation aside, is right before this, Henriksen and Gilthunder are talking about this, and Henriksen says, this was my plan all along. It was a gamble. I waited until his defenses were down. It was on guard. I'm like, no, you didn't. The first time that Henriksen saw when Rudessiel arrived in Margaret's body and blah, 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 he was all holier than thou, the second coming of Christ sort of idea. He didn't see an issue. Maybe later on he did, but we have no indication of that. When they said, this was your plan all along, no it wasn't, I call bullshit. It was a gamble, no, it was, you finally realized that he's a little crazy, and, why sacrifice the princess when you're the one. So, anyway, he says farewell to Dreyfus in his mind, and then we see Rudessiel looking at him very sternly. So, suffice it to say, we can all assume that when we next see them, Henriksen will be taken over by Rudessiel, and this will likely be Henriksen's final time coming back. He'll be officially dead, similar to Zarathustra after this point. Now, after all that, see, this chapter is kind of loaded with quite a few things, because then we jump over to King and Zeldris fighting, and King is, changing over to the big teddy bear form. I forget which form that is, and is using it to, pummel Zeldris, because once again, physical attacks are the thing that can work. So he actually gets a couple hits off on Zeldris, and Zeldris got a little blood there, and he's going, and they're kind of talking smack to each other, but then Zeldris says, I don't think you realized it. You guys aren't the only ones, that were heading here. I'm like, wait, what commandments are alive sort of idea. And the irony of that is, they kind of are. So we'll get into that. So now we can see, of course, that King actually beat Elizabeth, Mael, Gotha, everyone, to the fight, to the battlefield. During this, we're seeing that they're all flying there, trying to head towards Camelot as fast as they can, but they can all sense this crazy energy that Zeldris mentioned to King, and King now notices. And they're all saying, what is that? Mael reveals that Zeldris probably knew that this would happen all along. 5 of the commandments are currently in the cocoon with Meliodas, and it's basically a beacon for the other commandments. Now, this is what's interesting, is that he brings up the fact that it's the commandments themselves, as they are the Demon King's power. And as they are grouped together, similar like how he went and gathered them as Estarossa, he gathered 4, his body couldn't handle it, it broke apart, sort of idea. Well, in this case, his body didn't break apart, he actually banished them. But where did they go? I don't know. They were nowhere to be found, but I guess they were kind of shot across, or they left without thinking about it. A little bit of 20/20 vision would have helped you there, guys. Come on, they don't just disappear. Almost half of the Demon King's power, or a quarter of it, I guess, be 4 commandments. Yeah, so almost a quarter of the Demon King's power doesn't just disappear because man managed to get some, willpower against them. So they ended up forming together, and they became, and here's the kicker, they became self-aware. They almost become a level of sentience, which is something that I brought up when Gother entered Mael's mind and found that the commandments did have some sentience. They were self-aware, and they had desires and sins and the like. This is interesting because it brings up the fact, once again, of my Escanor's original power and the idea behind Rosa. Now, if you guys don't know, I've made 2 theory videos that tie into this theory. I'm not going to go into the theory here because this is, of course, a chapter review. Don't want it to be too long. But suffice it to say, I believe that the grace of sunshine was sentient and wandered for thousands of years after Mael became Estarossa, was banished, similar to the commandments. Now we've seen that that's exactly what happens. So if the commandments were pushed in, or a commandment or whatever happened that Wheelchair Gotha did, pushed, Mael into Estarossa, then that would suffice to say that the grace of sunshine was pushed out, similar to what just happened in reverse. When Mael became himself again, the commandments were pushed out but not destroyed. So they became self-aware. Now they state that they became self-aware because too many were gathered, and their power grows and they start to kind of learn, sort of idea. That's fine. But as we all know, quality over quantity with the graces, so the graces themselves could individually be already self-aware when not inside of a host. So that, once again, leads to my theory that the grace of sunshine was expelled from Mael at the time of him becoming Estarossa, and it waited thousands of years to find someone like Escanor. It looked and looked and looked. It might have killed multiple people, because as stated many times, nobody's body should be able to hold it, yet his has held it for almost 20 years. So this is excellent information, and kind of adds some more evidence to my theory. So if you guys want to go check those videos out, go check them out. They're on my channel under the playlist of theories. There are 2 videos. The original power video explains the theory more in detail. The other one is kind of an offshoot of that theory. So that being said, enough self-promoting. Let's get into the fact. I just wanted to do #Griever was right. And this is a big thing, because this means that the 4 commandments are now headed straight towards the beacon that is Meliodas' cocoon, that they feel the draw, and they want to go towards that. Now, of course, they mention that Melissukla's commandment is still in the hold of Merlin. Well, that lasts all of 2.5 seconds as the glass starts to shatter. It seems the commandment is expelled from Melissukla's little snake form, and it kind of goes in and joins the cocoon, sort of idea, or it's headed there. The glass is shattered. Is Melisukla still alive? Because this would imply about everyone, though Elaine has now been cured, so does it matter? So is Melisukla officially dead? I don't know. That's just kind of a topsy-turvy sort of idea. We'll find out eventually. I would say that by this logic, Melisukla is probably alive, because Merlin was keeping her alive to keep Elaine alive, and the commandment doesn't exactly, being expelled, one of the commandments, doesn't necessarily kill the host. But it could have. I don't know for certain. Suffice it to say, Zeldris kind of realizes what's happening. He goes, saying to himself, just a little bit longer, Gelda. And then, so, confirmed again that Gelda is the thing that Meliodas promised. Once Meliodas becomes the next Demon King, he gets Gelda, and he gets his happy ending. Nobody can stand in his way because the Demon King said so. And if Meliodas becomes the Demon King, that's how it is. So What's going to happen? Are we finally going to get the reveal of the cocoon? I'm a little disappointed we didn't see more of the battle for the original Sinner Demon. I would have liked to see him go a little bit of toe-to-toe with King. I mean, the matchup makes sense. King's all about magic, and Zeldris has the ruler, so it's a better matchup. However, I am a little disappointed to not see at least the original demon manage to, like, you know, and like, even though he dented the shield and it took some time, be able to throw Chastifold away sort of idea. It's kind of losing some of the hype of how powerful this guy's supposed to be. But that being said, guys, that's the end of the chapter, end of the review. What did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, it's always very much appreciated. This has been Griever with your chapter 295 review for 7 Deadly Sins. We'll see you back here next time, guys. As always, drink responsibly and Happy New Year.